7 players that I would bet my house on in fantasy football for this season, starting at the back end of round 1 with Nico Collins. Whenever you are able to pair him up with Derrick Henry, Devon Achane, Brian Thomas Jr., CMC, you are automatically at a huge advantage in your league. You have a guy who easily can finish as the overall wide receiver 1, as he showed in the beginning of last year, pairing him up with either another potential wide receiver 1 in Brian Thomas Jr. or an RB1 with Henry or Achane. Him specifically, Nico Collins, is a different breed than most receivers in the league. He's the closest thing we have right now to Julio Jones. Last year, he was absolutely uncoverable, averaging over 20 points per game in his healthy games, and this year, the competition has only gotten easier on his offense. No Stephon Diggs, no Tank Dell. Joe Mixon's hurt in the run game. I don't know how they're going to move the ball without giving it to Nico Collins. Now, the Texans do have a great defense, which, unlike Jamar Chase, kind of caps your ceiling a little bit. But since there's literally no one else to throw to for Nico, it's not like the Justin Jefferson situation when you have such a good defense and you have Hockenson and Jordan Addison. Nico has literally nobody. He's going to average over 10 targets per game. He's the perfect pick at the back end of round 1. This year, I think there's really no weakness in round 1, and at the back end, you're completely set when you're able to get him. Now, the second guy is George Kittle, who I see sometimes going in the beginning of the 4th round, maybe late 3rd. That's a little bit of a reach for me. I get him quite often in the middle of the 4th, if not early 5th, and he easily could be the tight end 1 again. Now, a lot of people want to talk about regression for Brock Bowers just being better in his second year with Geno Smith. They talk about it, especially with Trey McBride and catching touchdowns. They're saying he gets this many targets. How is he not scoring more? What about George Kittle, who gets literally 60 less targets than those two guys, yet he finished higher than them? He's a better tight end in real life. He's a better red zone threat. The problem is he has to block more. What if this year, with Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall as the wide receiver 1 and 2, Brandon Ayuk is hurt for most of the year, Deebo Samuel is gone, CMC's back to open up the run game. What if George Kittle is just that guy on offense? What if instead of 95 targets this year, what if he gets 120 and inches closer to the Brock Bowers tier of like 145 to 150 range? If he's able to regress positively in that area, he could average 17 to 18 points per game. His targets are worth way more than any other tight end because he averages 14 to 15 yards per catch. He's by far the most efficient tight end in the league, and I think waiting. Don't take Brock Bowers in the end of round 1 or round 2. Don't take Trey McBride in the 2-3 turn. Wait until you can get George Kittle. Now, the third guy, Trevian Henderson. I am completely all in on him. I was already all in on him before the preseason, but now we're just seeing highlight after highlight. Every time this dude touches the ball in training camp or in preseason games, he's electric. He's one of the most efficient backs in the league already. I love his height-weight combination. He's a great pass blocker, so I think he'll stay on the field all the time. I think Ramondre will get a good amount of the short yardage work, kind of like Dave Montgomery, getting a good amount of goal line work too. But Henderson looks like a great goal line back in the preseason, and I would not be surprised as if the fantasy season goes along like we think it would, he is going to take over a much bigger portion of the role than we'd imagined. It's probably going to be like 50-50 split at the beginning, then 60-40 by halfway, then like 65 to 70 by the end in favor of Henderson. And if he gets that many touches, kind of like a Jahmyr Gibbs, on an ascending offense, that's going to be huge. The biggest cheat code in fantasy is finding those year 2 offenses behind a great quarterback that are able to have a huge breakout. And with Mike Vrabel, who loves to run the ball, by the way, you remember the great times with Derrick Henry, I think Trevian has all the tools, great pass catcher as well. He only needs 12 to 16 touches a game to really pop off. And I could see at his peak, if he is getting 16 to 18 touches per game, being like a 18 point per game type of running back, and getting that in round 5 is amazing. If you're in a competitive league, you probably have to reach in round 4 to get him, but if you're in a casual league, round 5 is fine. I don't think he'll really go in round 6 anymore, but if you're lucky, you're lucky. Then Xavier Worthy, a guy that I haven't drafted too much this season, but as the season goes on and as the Rashee Rice reports keep coming out, I'm more interested. I think Patrick Mahomes, seeing what they've been doing in training camp, they're going to cook the offense how they did like 3 years ago. Just a bunch of deep balls comparatively to how they've been using the offense the short pass game is basically their run game over the past couple years. Their offensive line has got better. Isaiah Pacheco's back. I think they're going to be able to run the ball normally, and all their passing schemes will not have to be the stupid dink and dunk offense that nobody wants to watch. I think Xavier is going to get some of the short route stuff, especially if Rashee Rice misses any time. Rashee might get like up to a 10-game suspension. His hearing is September 30th, so he may get a mid-season suspension too, which is even worse for Rashee Rice and better for Worthy. We want Worthy to be the wide receiver one more towards the end of the year to really break out for us in the fantasy playoffs. And if they're going to really chuck the ball downfield, Worthy's going to ball out. They had a couple miscues last year where Mahomes didn't hit him on like multiple 70-yard touchdowns. It was just missed overthrows. Those are probably more likely to connect this year. I don't think Mahomes is going to miss all of those again. And we saw in the Super Bowl, it is possible. Granted, it was against backups, but Xavier's that guy in terms of being a speed demon downfield. I could just see a bunch of regression positively hitting towards the deep area of the field. And I kind of like him, man. Especially if there's any... He's the only guy who can do this skill set on the Chiefs offense, if that makes sense. All the other guys are complete randoms. Marquise Brown's completely, not healthy whenever. And then Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice only do slants and option routes over the middle of the field. He's the guy who can actually win downfield, so I'm interested now. Jordan Addison. He is able to be taken in the 8th round, yet he averages the same points per game as Zay Flowers, DK Metcalf, better than those guys, about as good as Devonta Smith, better than Jalen Waddle, all these guys going 3 to 4 rounds higher. I get 3-game suspension, not great, but guys, 3 games at the start of the year, I will gladly take that. Gladly take that for a guy that's going to give me insane depth in the 8th round. I will take the 4-round discount, him over Devonta Smith, without a doubt. You also have the added option of if anything does happen to Jefferson, if his hamstring is pulled or whatever, he could easily be a 17 to 18 points per game guy. We've seen that when Jefferson was hurt. Addison was going crazy. So I think you're just getting immense like T. Higgins type upside in the 8th round. It doesn't make sense. A 3-game suspension should move him from like pick 45 to 50 all the way down to like maybe 62 to 65 range, not into the 80s. I've been taking him at every league, especially when I need that ultra depth piece. Like he's going around Khalil Shakir. Are we serious? Obviously, he's way better than Khalil Shakir. He's going around Jordan Mason, a backup running back. I like Mason, but Jordan Addison's way better. I think it's a clear misevaluation by the market. In competitive leagues like Underdog, he is still going in the 50s to 60s, but in all my casual home leagues, I can get him for free. Then, David Njoku. He's another guy that's going for free. When you actually project out all the tight ends for the season, he is a top 5 guy. He averages 9.9 targets per game when he's healthy. Joe Flacco, we saw 2 years ago, absolutely peppered him with targets at the end of the year. He won so many people their fantasy championship. Shador looks great in the preseason. Whoever's playing quarterback, I'm not worried anymore. I'm taking Njoku, and he's free in the 8th to 9th round. Do not grab the guys like Hawkinson or Laporta who you have to pay a 40-pick premium on. Just wait 30 to 40 more picks, kind of like we did with Kittle, from Brock Bowers to Trey McBride to Kittle. The same gap exists between Laporta, Hawkinson, and Njoku, and I am waiting on Njoku, who could easily outscore both of them in this type of situation. I'm not worried about the rookie tight end they got. He's a great talent, but I think he'll be a thing next year. This year, it'll be David Njoku. Then, the last player is going to be Drake May. Once again, target these year 2 offenses, new head coach. They're projected to win 8.5 games versus 4 games, and he's the only quarterback in this range of the draft that has true QB1 upside with his rushing ability. He could easily average 50 to 60 rushing yards a game and get a lot of touchdowns like Josh Allen. So I'm all in on that. If you guys want to see more videos like this, drop a comment, drop a like, let me know what you want to see, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.